What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. And as always, I invite you to like, to share, to subscribe. And of course, when you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get all of the notices from when I drop these videos. And also, I call your attention to the Super Thanks feature that is on each and every one of my videos. So if you want to contribute to the channel, you can do it that way. That's just one of the ways that you can do it, and I would appreciate that. It lights up your comment. I see the comment, and I respond to the comment. That's the way it works. Simple, isn't it? And of course, if you don't want to give or you can't give, I know times are rough, whatever, it's all good. I'm just glad you're here. All right, guys, so let's get into this, right? And I want to start this off by giving a big old great mammoth shout out to Stephanie from My Nerdy Home, because she actually tagged me in this on Twitter and she brought it to my attention. And when I saw it, I said to myself, ain't this some shit? I gotta talk about this. I gotta have my say, because you know me. All right, so I'm gonna leave her link in the pinned comment below, by the way. So go check her out. She's wonderful. She's great. She's all that. Okay, so let's talk about this. What I'm going to talk about, you saw the thumbnail, but I want to start this off with a quote from the 37th President of the United States, one Mr. Richard Nixon. Okay, and the reason why I want to do this is because I got a question for you guys, okay? Keep this in mind, okay? It's like I was saying before. Why is it that certain voices are allowed to speak up louder or recognized as being authorities when they push a certain narrative, but when others push a narrative that is not that widely accepted, okay, they're not acknowledged? There's no appreciation for diversity of thought inside of diversity, which is very interesting because we're talking about the concept of diversity and inclusion. So why are we not including other ways of thinking? I don't know. But let's get into this quote from Richard Nixon. Maybe Richard Nixon has some insight into this, okay? Here's what the 37th President of the United States, Richard Nixon, had to say with regard to the blacks. He said, with blacks, the president said, you can usually settle for an incompetent because there just are not enough competent ones. And so you put incompetents in and get along with them. Because symbolism is vitally important, you have to show you care. What? As DMX would say. What? He said, with blacks, the president said, you can usually settle for an incompetent because there just are not enough competent ones. And so you put incompetents in and get along with them because the symbolism is vitally important. You have to show you care, even if you don't. Now, there it is, guys. To me, that's the formula, all right? You get the blacks in there that you consider to be just incompetent enough where you can get what you want out of them, okay? It's a lot easier to do it that way, all right? So you keep that in mind, okay? Why certain people are acknowledged and certain people are heard and some people are allowed to be influencers and others are just passed over. They're not even acknowledged or consulted or anything, you know? Okay, so let's get into this article here, okay? It was on salon.com, keeping what I said in mind, okay? This article is by one Melanie McFarlane, and it says, let's all stop ignoring the Fandom Menace. It's real and it's winning. She says, let's all stop ignoring the Fandom Menace. It's real and it's winning. Whoa! That's what I'm talking about. It's been a long time, baby. I'm going to take that victory lap. I got to do it. Take it with me. Doom, 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 doom. Boom, 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 boom. Yes, I'm going to do it because, guys, I've been in this for a long time. And I remember when they used to say shit like, it's just a vocal minority. They're really of no consequence. They're not making a difference. We're safe as kittens. Remember when that dickhead Kevin Smith said that? Safe as kittens. We don't care. Nobody listens to them. They're not changing anything. Now all of a sudden now we're real and we're winning. Well, what changed in 2022? Because actually you guys are partying like it's 2016, 2017. Most people don't even acknowledge themselves as Fandom Menace anymore. I'm a t-shirt rocking dude because I recognize that there's a certain degree, there's a certain amount of audience out here who feel like they're not being heard, okay? So I have a voice here, right? And I take it seriously that sometimes I speak for those who can't speak for themselves. All right, so that's the reason why I didn't put it down, but most people did. They're off building their brands and their empires and stuff. They ain't caring about no Fandom Menace in name. But these people are talking about now, after something like, 4 or 5 years, now it's time to do something about them. We can't have this. We have to shut them down. Get the pitchforks and the torches. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck you sound like? You know what I mean? So anyway, yes, let's all stop ignoring the Fandom Menace. It's real and it's winning. And it says, attacks from the toxic side of Marvel and Star Wars fandom are a feature, not a bug, and they serve a darker side. Now, she goes on, Melanie, to say, griping about wokeness ruining Star Wars and the MCU is big business. And in case you haven't been paying attention to these folks, and for the most part, the average viewer, moviegoer, and entertainment journalist hasn't, business is good. So here we are. We're pocket watching. That's what this is really about. They don't care necessarily what people are saying. It seems like they care more about the fact that people have managed to monetize this. All right, so they're crying about that. Don't hate, dude. Participate. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it says here, okay, business is good because these concepts have been mainstreamed. What are complaints about race-bending roles or casting for diversity, if not a weaker version of the so-called Great Replacement theory? Just asking questions. Okay, so the Great Replacement theory. Well, let me ask you something. Is it really a theory when you see every traditional established character being indeed replaced? Captain America, Thor, Black Panther, Hawkeye, just about Superman, just about everybody you can name. Okay, is being replaced, and they're usually being replaced by somebody who is gay, trans, black, a woman, you know what I mean? So after a while, you do have to say, hey, something's going on here. Something's not right here. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's wrong to do that. Sexism and racism abided in genre fandom long before Star Wars sequels were an itch in George Lucas's brain. Ask any of the graying geeks and trekkers in your orbit who sought like-minded souls on message boards or at comic book conventions back in the 90s or the aughts. Only recently has that bigotry metastasized effectively enough to produce a predictable repetition of outraged cycles, coinciding with efforts by media corporations to cast more inclusively and more to the point in the wake of Gamergate. This is not an accident. In 2014, here we go, Gamergate tested how effectively misogynistic, racist fandom could be harnessed and weaponized against individuals designated as stand-ins for entire groups of people. The people involved claimed to be fed up with the creeping incursion of progressivism in the gaming industry. In reality, they were channeling untapped white male rage that eventually came for who? Who do you think they're going to bring up now? Who could it be? Who could it be now? I think you all know. Kelly Marie Tran, come on down. This is the gift that keeps on giving, whose character, Rose Tico, became a favorite punching bag among the Menace, along with Leslie Jones and Zendaya, who had the nerve to be cast as MJ in Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies. Now, one of the takeaways from this culture-shifting ordeal was the effectiveness of this apparently leaderless mob's narrowly directed campaigns of harassment, including doxing. What we failed to comprehend is that the mob never really dispersed. It merely redirected its efforts to other targets, mainly women of color. Here we go. And evolved its methods. Now, all of this begs for Disney and other corporations to use their power to take concrete steps to protect Black, brown, Asian, indigenous, and non-white actors. Protect them. Protect them from what? From criticism? Is that what we're talking about? From online harassment? Is that what we're talking about? Isn't that something that everybody who goes online, like honestly guys, please be honest with me. Everybody who goes online, everyone who is on the internet, everyone who is on social media has been met with assholes, okay? It's just the way it is. We all know that. It's not cool. It's not right. It's wrong. But it is a fact of life. Is it not? Okay, because they want to protect Black, brown, Asian, indigenous, and non-white actors. Okay, but every actor has to face that, okay? Every actor feels that pressure, white actors included. It's just the nature of the business. Criticism will always be a thing. There is no protection from that ever without having some type of dictatorship. When you say that you no longer have the right to say how you feel about anything, no matter how unreasonable or no matter how hateful it might be on the internet, guess what? You no longer have an open and free internet, okay? So if you want to talk about the power to take concrete steps to protect them, well, there is this thing called the block button, is it not? Right? There is a such thing as a block button, right? So if you feel like you're being harassed or, insulted and all of that stuff, you block. That's what you do. That's what I do. Okay. All right. Public statements are one step, but they can also be coupled with preemptive protections they could enact on their talents' social media accounts. Yes, a block button, like I said before. Or they could choose not to be on social media at all if you just can't take it out in these streets. It says here, if Disney had found a way to alert TikTok of the hatred it correctly predicted was coming Jeffrey's way, and I think they're talking about the young black actress who's going to be starring in the Percy Jackson movies, when in the book she was given to be a white girl, I believe it is. Okay, so now people are sounding off about that. She needs protection from that, and even the author is talking about this. I mean, I did the video on that as well. Would she have had her accounts suspended? If they devoted similar resources towards sheltering Ingram, there it is, Moses Ingram, from online hatred, how might that have impacted the narrative being misshapen by far right-leaning personalities masquerading as guardians of Star Wars and Marvel? A more alarming truth, however, is that the fandom's toxicity may be too far gone to effectively eradicate it. Of course, because, listen, people are going to be people. I said years ago in a video, nobody has to love you. Nobody has to love me. There are always going to be people who don't like me, even people who hate me, okay? But if you're not going to physically or actively stop me from pursuing happiness, then it is of no consequence to me. I don't need everybody talking about, oh my gosh, that Mark with a C, isn't he darling? Isn't he wonderful? Isn't he lovely? No, that would be fucking weird. I don't need that. Of course there are going to be people who don't like me. People who don't like me because of my color, because of my size, because of my beard, because of my hat, because of my voice, whatever. It's just going to be the way it is. You can't control that. That's called people being free. Now, there are laws that are in place where it keeps people from going too far with this shit. You know what I mean? And there are terms of agreement, terms of service, all of these things. What you're basically saying is you don't believe that these people should be critiqued. That's what you're saying. And I think it's wrong. You know what I mean? I really do. I think that criticism helps people to elevate. Yes, even hatred helps people to elevate. I remember when Jackie Robinson was first starting out, they said we need somebody who's going to be able to rise above the heckling, the hatred. It's the only way you break down these walls, man. It's the only way that you break through. There's always going to be haters, always. So this whole idea of, you need to shelter these people is some bullshit. A more alarming truth, however, is that the fandom's toxicity may be too far gone to effectively eradicate it. Here it is. The Rewriting Ripley post acknowledges this. Despite describing its article as a plea for any entity that has enough power to control a narrative to be aware of how hate is designed to manipulate those narratives without most people ever realizing it. Now, of course, you guys remember the Rewriting Ripley thing where they said they did an extensive investigation into the fandom, and the best they could come up with is, y'all a bunch of racists, y'all a bunch of sexists. Where was your extensive investigation if it didn't include people like Mark with a C, if it didn't include people like Abu Nas, if it didn't include people like Damajanai, if it didn't include people like Fatal J, Lord Callis, if it didn't include people like Jane Theory, Lorena Creole, there are so many people who's out here that they never spoke to, that they never do consult when they come up with these things, because they want to have this narrative that is all about hatred, so they ignore it. And it's like I said at the very beginning, these people who are exploiting this whole situation, they go out and they handpick the incompetents, just like Richard Nixon said. They find people that they can agree with, people that they can control, people who are just smart enough to say the things that they want them to say. And they never do acknowledge these people here that I'm talking about, so you get a more well-rounded view of exactly what the problem is. If you're really interested in finding out exactly what the grievance is, then you think you would talk to everybody. But I think they're the real racists because they completely disregard the so-called diversity of thought, the inclusion of different ideas. They just want to handpick the incompetents, like our 37th president of the United States said. And I feel like it's wrong. But that's what you see, guys. So you keep seeing these hit pieces directed towards people like Geeks and Gamers, The Quartering. It's the same people that they keep going after, all right? In the meantime, these people are blowing the hell up. They're monetizing all of this, as well they should, for all the shit that they go through, because, it's got to balance out, number one, and number two, people recognize the BS for what it is. And so they follow these people. These people are gaining an audience. Okay. And I don't cape for anybody. I'm just somebody who tells the truth because I know that's what they do. I'm not afraid to tell the truth no matter what that truth is. Okay. No matter who it favors. The truth is going to be the truth. I know people already, oh my God, he's just a token. He's caping for them. It's some bullshit, man. But that's the reason why, and I've told you many years in advance, I never did hook up with other people on other platforms for the longest time because I know the way this thing goes. You know what I mean? The minute I speak up to tell the actual truth, I have to be an Uncle Tom. I have to be a coon. I have to be caping for them. You know what I mean? But the truth is just the truth, man. And the truth is that people have the right to criticize the things that they pay into. Okay, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Disney Plus, whatever it is. You want people's business? Well, people are giving you their business. They're paying their money. But guess what comes with that? After they pay their money, they tend to tell you how they feel about what they paid. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant, you order something to eat. Well, chances are you're going to have some type of feeling about what it is that you just paid your money for. Either you're going to say, that was good. Damn, that was some good food. Or you're going to say, damn, that was some shit. I'm never coming back here again. But what you're doing is saying you don't have the right to say what you might have a problem with. You don't have the right to be critical. The only thing you ever have the right to do is say, I love it. I love it. If you don't, then you're supposed to be racist. You're supposed to be sexist. You're supposed to be homophobe. All of those good things. But in order to make that fly, you have to ignore the diversity thing. You have to ignore diversity of thought and the inclusion of other ideas. So I say to you, all right, Melanie, I say to Rewriting Ripley, all of these people who always want to write these hit pieces towards the so-called angry white guys, you're full of shit. You are totally up to here full of shit. If you never talk to people like me, here's your challenge, all right? If you want to be authentic, if you want credibility, come seek out any of the names that I named in this video. Talk to just one of us. It doesn't have to be me, but you'll never do it because you're so busy selling your fucking narrative. You're so busy by being used by people who see you, as the 37th president of the United States said, are incompetent. That's what you are. Why are you incompetent? Not because you're black, but because you're black and you don't want to talk to black people. That makes you a useful idiot. I talked about that on other videos before. Useful idiots. That's what you are. Incompetent. That's what you are. Being exploited. That's what you are. Okay, so anytime you're ready to elevate, anytime you're ready to do better, then come see the real, okay? And stop serving your fucked up master who doesn't care about any of us. All right, guys, that's it. You can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel. As usual, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. Thank you for listening, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.